Hello everybody and welcome back. In this video we're going to be talking about the animation tab or animation section. So let's get started. If you go to Windows, Animation, click on Animation, where the hotkey is Control-6. So I already have this tab open. Now what this animation does is allows you to create and see your animations. So for this one I have this character and this character over here. This character, I got it from the Unity Asset Store, and it's from Codewart Game Assets, and it's the LOWPOLY Universal Character Modular. I'll have that in the link below. So this character already has its own animations. As you can see, it has this idle animation that says read only, and it also has a show read only properties. You could click on that to see it. Or you could go to these three dots over here and also show read-only properties. So if we click on it, we can see all the properties. So if we actually drag it around or hit play, you could see it playing. As I said, you could just drag it around if you like. Now you could also create a new clip from this drop-down menu, or you could check your other animations. So if I go back over here to check my other animations here and hit play, move back, so you can see the animation playing. Now the read-only properties is pretty much because I downloaded it. I downloaded these animations also from the Unity Asset Store. I'll leave a link down below for that as well. But just create a new clip real quick and we'll put it under this one over here, under animations. We'll just call it new animation, but you can name it as you need to, and we'll just hit save. Now it's gonna bring us over here. Now with this, you could add a property. So I could click add property, I could click transform, or anything that is sitting on this game object, even the childs of the game object. So armature, male, unisex, these are all the child pretty much objects. So you could do it that way, or you could just hit this record button and save your recording like that. So as you can see these dots right here that appeared, and it's the X position, the Y position, and the Z position. So we created our first keyframe, and now we could also copy keyframes and we could paste them as well. So now you can see this whole thing got highlighted, meaning this whole clip is pretty much our animation now. And I'm actually going to drag this to the 2-minute mark or 2-second mark. And now after that, we have our animation also added to the list. This is the record button. As I said, you could just click the record button and anything you do will get automatically recorded for you. This is so you could go to the beginning of the clip. This one goes to the previous clip. So let's say I save another one right here where he churns a little bit. Now I could go to the previous clip, which is the beginning or previous keyframe, or I could go forward one keyframe. So as you can see, it just goes forward a keyframe, and then I could, let me put this back to 180. So now I could just preview it. There's also this where you could type in what key or what frame you want to be at. So if you want to be at 14 frames, and I think this one's by seconds, but you could change the frames and seconds right here. So if you want it to be frames instead of seconds, you could do that. There's also right here, filter by selection. I'm not really sure what that does. So if anybody knows what that does, leave a comment down below. There's also keyframe right here. You could just add a keyframe with this button and it adds a keyframe for you. There's also add event. So you could add an actual event, and the event, the way this works is it gets a script so it gets any script that's on the animation or animator game object, and then it gets any public function that's on it. So this script I created in a previous video of how to change a skin mesh with the click of a button or a keyboard press. And then so I have a public function here. So if I go back to this event, I just have to click on it, and this is the function list, and I have this change mesh function. And all this change mesh function does is it'll grab the character's hair and just change the mesh pretty much. So if we hit play, here, you will not really be able to see it. So you would actually have to go into play mode, and you can see our hair, how it looks. So for this to work, I would have to hook it up to the animator. I talked about the animator in a previous video about how the layer system works, how the parameters work, pretty much how everything works about the animator, except I didn't mention the coding part. I'll do that in a future video, so stay tuned for that. But if we hook up this new animation, we're gonna set it as the layer default state. So this is the first animation that will play as soon as we hit play. So now we should see the character's hair change. You can see it changed real quick. I'm gonna hit play again so you guys can see it. but it changed, and that's because of that little event. And that event could be anything. Like I said, it's just a function, so you could have this event to be anything. And you could also add different things if you want to add different scripts or whatever like that, that also have a function that is called on awake or something like that, or on update, and it will work like that. You can also pass strings, integers, floats, all that. And then yeah, that's pretty much it for that section. So if you go to this three dots in the menus, there's seconds and frames. Ripple, I'm also not sure about that, so if you guys know what ripple is, leave it down below. That way you guys can help other people and myself know what ripple is. It would be really interesting to know what that is. There's also show sample rate. So if you hit show sample rate, you can see the sample rate pretty much. And it by default it's at 60. You could shorten this and it'll just pretty much make your animation much slower. So now if I click on my character, go back to animation and hit play, so it's moving much slower. Now if you wanted to be quicker, you can bump it up and hit play. Now when you hit play, it's just much quicker. And that's just an easier way of, not having to tweak all these values once it's set up. You don't want to have to tweak them all one by one. Just do it like that. There's also set sample rate, so you could set it just like that instead of doing it manually. So it works the same way. And then there's that show read-only property. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. In the next video, we're going to be talking about the rendering section, about occlusion calling, and probably light, explore, and lighting. All these are good, especially occlusion calling is good for when you have a lot of things in your scene. It will help the camera only render what's being seen by the camera, so anything else will not be rendered. So it saves on performance. So stay tuned for that. And thank you guys once again for all the support. And if you guys liked and enjoyed this video, or if you guys learned anything, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Help me a lot, help this channel a lot, help people find this channel, and if they don't know about this, they could learn something. And once again, thank you guys.